Welcome. Welcome. Good afternoon. And how are you doing? Welcome to the Win Win Live Show. And we are here this afternoon with one of our dear friends. She has been with us for the last 3 weeks, talking and having a conversation about numero uno, me, myself, and I. But this afternoon, we are actually diving into the pages of her freshly newly published book, Shepocrisy, and her journey, her as an author. We are going to have sit down and have a conversation with Cherry Ann, none other than Cherry Ann Benjamin. And just before we bring her up, I want to go ahead and just share with you just a bit concerning her new book. Drawn from her frank, candid, and uncensored personal experiences, Cherry and Benjamin unselfishly and vulnerably shares on the hidden matters of the heart that often hinder men and women from doing, being, speaking, and living the life God created them to live. And so, before we go ahead and bring Cherry on up here, we are going to just share just a quick promo of her newly published book. Welcome, Cherry Ann. Welcome. Welcome. So
Hello.
you are an author.
Yes.
Congratulations, Cherry Ann.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Now, if you have not heard of this book before and this is your first time, let me tell you, if you're a man listening, you need to get it for the women in your life. If you're a woman listening, you need to get it for your life and your friends,
Yes.
your women friends' life. It's a must have. It's a
Yes, it is.
powerful book. And you hear our author is affirming and confirming that. Yes, you got to get it. You got to get it. Shepocrisy. Hmm. The name is very intriguing. It intrigued me. It captured my attention the first time I saw it when you did a post of it coming soon on social
Yes.
media. So before we even dive within the pages, just to whet the appetite of the folks that are tuning in, what inspired the book Shepocrisy?
It came at a time of my life when I felt as if everything was just going wrong. Nothing seemed to be right. And it was right in the middle of the events of 2020.
Mm,
And I started to write then. However, I felt as if I myself needed to be unraveled.
mm,
And after embarking on that journey, I began to realize that some of the things that I was facing
yes.
weren't being addressed in a way that was helpful for me.
Ah,
For example, the issue of jealousy was being addressed from the perspective of somebody being jealous of you. And
mm,
that wasn't where I was at. I was the one being jealous. And so I felt the call and I answered to go and write from the perspective of being in that position.
mm.
Yes.
From the perspective of being the guilty one.
The guilty one, the one that had the issues, the one that they were telling you to avoid in the social media posts.
Yes, yes. That is a task. Hello, folks.
Yes.
That is a task because not very many people very many of us is willing to shine the spotlight on us.
True.
And the
So
spotlight
true.
not on the beautiful and the glory and the glamour, but on the mess, on the grime, on the
Yes.
filth. Ooh, wow. Wow, wow, wow. Why? Why the name Hypocrisy?
For me, it was a play on words. I really love words.
Yes.
Being a polyglot, I saw that the issues that I was dealing with in the manuscript were issues that were hypocritical in nature. And
Mm,
since we're doing it from a mainly female perspective,
Mm-hmm.
I started to play with both words, she and hypocrisy, and
Yes.
finally they combined to create.
Yes. Ah. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And let's just put a shameless plug right there. There you go. Your copy of Shipocracy waiting on you right over there at
Amazon.
amazon.co.uk, dot wherever you are within the world. You'll absolutely
Yes,
find your copy. So, Cherian, I'll tell you, my experience, one of them, as I was reading and just diving within the pages of the book and consuming the content, was it made me feel like it took me back to the labor room and the delivery room for my children, because my mind couldn't help but wonder, like, what did you have to go through to
yes,
push out and give birth to this manuscript as I'm reading? Because just the excerpt that I read there, and it says you were vulnerable, you were
yes,
transparent. It had to take something for that book to be able to be tangible, where we can hold it, sit down, and consume it. What was the journey like in giving birth and publishing that book,
yes.
Hypocrisy?
It was emotionally draining at times.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because I had to really face me. I had to
Mm.
admit and confess. But it's like you could see that there's a pimple on your face, but you don't want to confess that you have acne when there are many more all over your face. And that
Mm-hmm.
that was where I was at. Okay, I see the pimple, but there are many more, so I'm not going to confess that I have acne, but I do. So I need to get the treatment for it. And I had to say, okay, you deal with this. You are jealous. You do
Yes.
gossip. You are a people pleaser. You are. Admit
Yes.
it. Confess it now and get it out of you.
Mm.
And that was not easy because it's scary. It's scary to admit that you're in the wrong because we always want to be right. And
Mm.
I'm a recovering, delivered perfectionist. I'm proclaiming it.
Hallelujah.
I'm a delivered perfectionist. And
Amen.
because of that, it because I was there in the
Mhm.
perfectionism mode, I did not want you to see what was not perfect.
Mm.
And writing this meant that
Yes.
I would have to.
Yes. 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 Wow. Wow. I was intrigued, Cherry, and down to the, if I have not said it I don't think I've said it enough. I'm saying it. Cherry, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Not
Thank you.
only on this first publication of yours, but this powerful first publication of yours, of many
Yeah.
more to come. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
As I dived in the pages, before I dived in, I usually like to take the book and just go through the book of contents, the table of contents. I find it intriguing for me just to go through and see what, like a little child, like what awaits me, what awaits me. Because yes, like ooh, um, because the title of the chapters kind of gives piques your interest and makes
Yes.
you look forward to what's in chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter
Mhm.
3, chapter 4. And OMG, I was like, woo, I believe I'm gonna love this. I mean,
Yes.
just from the very first chapter, hear it, guys. Speak with your tongue on fire. I'm like, whoa. No, the moment I read and saw that, speak with your tongue on fire, my mind, I was thinking from the point of view of like fire prophetically deal with some matters. But then when I think of the title of the book, Hypocrisy,
Yes.
like, okay, I don't think that's the road that
No.
I want to go down.
It's
But
not that.
yeah, but it's so even that is kind of like a twist on
Yes.
Tongue of Fire. This is what it's supposed to be expecting, but based
Yes.
on the theme of the book,
Oh,
the title
yes.
of the book, like, I don't think that's where she's going. So that
No.
even piqued my interest. Like, come on in,
Yeah.
chapter one. Let's check it out and see what's going on.
And you know what, Michelle? That came from that act reminds me of James when he said the tongue is set on fire by hell.
Ah, wow, 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 wow. Mm. So from the very first, even
Yes.
before, even before, folks, when I tell you this is a must have, a must
It
read,
is.
hello, I'm not exaggerating. It's not because I'm personally acquainted with Charian, but it's a must read.
It is.
Even before you hit the chapters, the introduction, I'll tell you, Open Up is one of the subtitles in the introduction. Charian,
Yes.
I'm going to ask you just to divulge some more on this as I give an excerpt. If we are truly honest, can you identify the dark side of our life? If we are truly honest, can we identify the dark side of our lives? We either have a smeared past, current habits, or strongholds that we would rather hide or sweep under the rug than expose and address.
Mm-hmm.
I'll allow you to go ahead and just share on that.
Yes. As believers, we're so challenged that we want to be like Christ, and we know that there are no imperfections in Him. One of the scriptures that really draws me out the most is there is no shadow in Him, no
Yeah.
shadow of turning, nothing, no
Yes.
darkness, nothing hidden, no hidden agendas in God.
No.
And but we're fallible human beings, and everybody may be on a different stage in their journey. Some persons may be so transparent that this may not be for them, but there are others who are so hidden
Mm,
behind of walls and masks and
mhm,
charades and games that they need
mm,
somebody in front saying it's okay to open up, it's okay to show
mm,
the stinky
mm.
things, it's
Yeah.
okay to show the dark things,
Yeah.
because how else are we going to be delivered from them if we are not
Mm.
putting them under the microscope of the word,
Yes.
if we're not partnering with Holy Spirit and saying, here I
Yes.
am, this is my heart, this is what's in my heart. We know
Yes.
that Jesus himself said, out of our hearts flow the issue of life, our
Yes.
issues.
Yes.
If we're not opening up that same heart to him to allow him to see even the dark things and to
Yeah.
take out those things that are contrary to him, how then are we
Mm,
going to be like him? The same thing that we're striving so hard for.
mhm,
And
mhm,
open up is a call to do that. You
mm.
can't go forward unless you open the door. It's like you're trying to go inside a building.
Yes.
We're not gonna just osmosis our way into it. We have
No.
to open up the door.
Yeah. 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 Mm, mm, mm. As you were sharing there, Cherry, and what came to mind as you were sharing on some of the things that we used to hide. And one of the biggest things I've found in growing up in Christendom is that folks used to hide is titles.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
Deacon, deaconess,
Mm-hmm.
um, choir leader,
Worship leader.
women's director,
Mm-hmm.
pastor, bishop, the titles. And the titles supposedly is supposed to say that we are
Haloed.
holier thou, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with
Oh
me.
no,
I
nothing at
know
all.
I know the Lord and the Lord knows
Yes.
me, and
Oh
we
yeah.
have a good thing going on.
Playing my harp, sitting on my cloud with my
Ah,
golden rings.
yes. Uh-huh. I'll tell you one of the scriptures that caused me just to sit and ponder. One of the stories is that of Moses' brother, Aaron.
Yes.
Aaron had some things up in his heart. It's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like what I heard one minister said. God is the only employer he knows that would fire you and still have you working.
Ooh.
So it's
And
like,
that's scary.
hey, so it's like Aaron was there working, but was already fired. So when the time of him working had come to an end, the
Yes.
moment that holy thing was taken off of him, he fell to the ground dead.
Red.
I'm like, wow, that matter of the heart, the things of the heart, is not something to play with.
Not at all.
Not something to play with at all. Hmm. Let's go dive. Still, hello, people. Still, we're in the introduction. Confront your Goliath. Oh my gosh. One of my favorite stories in the Bible is that of David and Goliath in First Samuel 17, NIV version. The most thought provoking part of this chapter was verse 11. On hearing the Philistines' words, Saul and all the Israelites were dismayed. Saul the king and all the Israelites were dismayed and terrified. I am asking a simple question. This is our author, Sharian. You mean to tell me that out of all, however many tens of thousands of men, you could not find anyone brave enough to stand up to this guy? There, they were all brave and skilled warriors. Mm. I've read that scripture, Cherian, in First Samuel 17 many times, and
Yes.
the way in which you laid it out, it never quite gripped me like that. Like, for real, these are skilled warriors.
Yes. I will add more fuel to that fire by saying Saul himself was described at his coronation, so to speak, as being head and shoulders above
Yeah,
everyone else. That means that you are tall. So you are a match for Goliath, and here you
yeah,
are quivering.
yeah. You have some stamina, some strapping.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Out of 10, you mean to tell me out of these tens of thousands of skilled warriors, not
Yes.
one?
Not one.
Huh. Listen, the question she followed that was with what happened? Why not even one? What happened? Y'all want to guess what happened? FEAR is what happened. Cherian, when you shared that, I was like, immediately, I came face to face with fear, but came face to face with fear from the point of view of fear was real for Cherian.
Yes.
This was something that, I mean, I could hear the passion in your writing as you pulled from that scripture and laid it out in that scripture and then coupled it up with asking that question, what happened? Fear happened.
Fear
What
happened.
was what did you have to walk through as it pertains to fear as you were writing this book and just unraveling, as you were saying, going through that period where you were unraveling and just coming to the core of you to address the matters of the heart?
The biggest thing that I was afraid of was what are people going to think of me after they read it?
Mm,
Especially people who would have been in my life for certain seasons that I would have mentioned in the book.
yes.
The pastors who were over my life while I'm here confessing to this hypocrisy, doing things on the weekend and then coming Sunday morning What are they going to think of me?
Mm-hmm.
What are the people who are looking up to me now going to think?
Mm.
What's my mother going to think? She
Mm.
actually asked me if I went through all of that, and I have to say, yes, mom. So that that too was another fear.
Yes.
And but most of all, I had to push aside the fear of this is not going to be good enough. In that
Mm.
I so know it's, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like I am convinced
Mm-hmm.
that this is a tool that can be used
Yes.
to bring persons into an understanding and a higher level of
Yes.
deliverance,
Yes.
that I was afraid that it would not have been enough. I don't know how that makes sense, but that was what was going through my mind. It's the tool, it's what you can use,
Sherry, on just a moment.
but maybe it's not enough. But you know what?
Yeah. So you just now when you were saying you were afraid of the audio went wacky. Could you just repeat that for me, please, for us?
Okay. I was afraid that I knew that the tool, this book is a tool that can be used in the realm of deliverance or in the area of deliverance.
Yes.
However, I
Absolutely.
was still afraid that it wasn't enough, like
Mm.
it wasn't going to do that job. And I had to
Yes.
push that aside because, and this is not just me, this is a message for you who's out there listening as well.
Mm.
Anything you put into God's hands is
Ah, come on.
way more powerful than you can imagine. And
Hmm.
this tool, this is not
Yeah.
just a book, tool is in his hands.
Yes. Absolutely. 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 And again, as Cherian shows it, we see that we're having a bit of a challenge this afternoon, but we are pushing
Yes.
ahead nonetheless. So,
Nonetheless.
shameless plug, I'm going to go ahead and plug it right here so you can see it clearly. Yes, right there at Amazon, wherever you are located on this globe, you can go ahead and get your personal copy.
Yes.
Yeah, so as I read that, Cherry, and fear happened again. My mind thought, like, what was the freedom experience like after you were able to push this out? What did you experience inside, like when you finally got over the hump of what he's going to think, what mommy's going to think, what the pastor down the road, what all these persons who in a small community, they know you personally, and it was like, you did that, you went through that, you after you got over that and you finally finished and you released the book, even before you released it, but you finally finished and submitted it to the publisher, what did you experience inside, like as you were going through the journey and when it's finally you're done? What was the inner experience, the emotions that you went through?
Ooh, I think I burst out crying.
Wow.
I definitely burst out crying for joy and
Yes.
relief.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm.
it's like you have been carrying something and you finally get to put it
Mm.
down. It's not
Yes.
that
Yes.
I actually put it down, but the writing aspect of it is now
Yes.
down.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
That was a relief, and just the joy that, wow, this thing that was in my mind, this idea that I
Mm.
was given, this thing that
Mm.
I was graced with is now, it's real. It's a lot
Yeah.
of joy.
Yeah. Out. As you're talking, what I'm seeing is visual. I don't know if you've ever seen these cartoons or cartoon characters with their powers, and what I saw was one would have just has fire powers or water powers, and they just open their mouth and just release it out, and when they're finished it's like because they're literally drained, like they released everything to save the world, and after
Yes.
they're finished, like their friends have to come and lift them. And as you were talking just now, as you
Yes.
were sharing, that is what I felt. Did you experience that? Is like it's out,
Yes.
like free.
Yes, I did. It's no longer just in my mind. I
Yes.
can now see how it impacts other people. I can now share the knowledge that I've received, share the insight that I've received, and see other people benefit from it too, because
Yeah.
that is my heart. I want others to receive the freedom. I really don't like it when we hide. I don't like it. It's easy to do, but it's not benefiting us. It's keeping us back. It's hindering us. It's weighing us down. It's so flawed, and I don't like to see it. I don't like the cloaks, the masks. And so if I can get more and more women to unmask and dismantle the old things and then the contrary
Mm-hmm.
things, then
Yes.
I would continue to rejoice and sigh of relief even more.
Yes. 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 Wow. Wow. So we jumping over chapter one, chapter two, and we're at chapter three. Self pity. So it's host lavish pity parties. I just love how you play with the words. Host lavish pity parties. Self
Yes.
pity
The chapters are
is,
actually must not do's, like a not do
yeah,
list.
yes, yeah, I realize that. I realize. I realize that. So, self pity is easily the most of the non pharmaceutical narcotics. It the most destructive of the non pharmaceutical narcotics. It is addictive, gives momentary pleasure, and
Yes.
separates the victim from reality, says
Yes.
John Gardner. That right there is not something to sleep on. That is
No.
not something to sleep on. The most destructive of the non pharmaceutical narcotics. That's not something
Yes.
to sleep on at all. At all.
It
Mm.
paralyzes. It paralyzes you.
And that,
Having been there, it paralyzes you.
can you share one experience, Cherian? Can anything come to mind where
Yeah.
self pity would have? Would you okay with
Yes.
share that? Please.
Yes, I am. I'm going way back for this one. This was not a recent thing in my life, but when
Mhm.
I was 16, I was diagnosed with Guillain-Barré syndrome, which basically causes paralysis where your nerves attack each they attack themselves. And
Mm,
I could not walk, could not
mhm,
speak. My right side was looped down almost as if I had a stroke, because it's a
mm.
neurological disorder.
Okay.
And I remember in recovery, because that's the year that we write exams to move on out of secondary school into tertiary or
University.
out into the work world. And
Mhm.
my friends were doing it, but I couldn't, because I'm stuck
Mm.
here in a hospital. I spent a month in the hospital before they could
Oh.
diagnose me. And having gone through that at such a young
Mhm,
age, the
mhm,
mindset was always, woe is me, this thing's always happened to me.
mm,
And
mm.
for some reason, I did not realize I carried it through my life until I'm going to be very, very vulnerable, until I had a miscarriage in 2021. And then I started to realize, wait, no, these things aren't always happening to me, but mentally, that is where I
Mhm.
was. This is
Ah.
always happening to me. And I didn't realize it. realize it until I got there. And because of that, I felt as if I could not move. Like
Yes.
I'm stuck just with an arrow or target
Yeah.
on my back saying,
Yes.
do this to her, make her
Yeah.
sick, make her
Yes.
lose something, torment her
Yes.
mind. She's just
Yeah.
drawn to that. That's all she's good for.
Mm.
And it
Mm.
made me feel like and think about myself that way. That I'm
Mm-hmm.
just the little bitty Cherian who can't get
Mm.
anything right and who will always
Mm-hmm.
have these issues, and my
Mm-hmm.
friends should come around and say, "Oh my," and pat me on the back and cry with me, and oh
Yes.
dear, that's not the
Mm.
case. That's not who I was
Mm.
created to be. That's not who
No,
you were created to be.
that's right. Mm. Mm. Wow. 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 Mm. Mhm. Wow. Wow. I'm not sure where you are today, but if you find yourself in that place where it is woe is me and you're pulling out the tissues to wipe away tear after tear after tear because my life is so sad. It seems like I lose more than I gain. I try to make one step forward and it's like I make 10 steps backward. It's like I can't ever find anybody good for my life, and on and on and on and on and on.
Yes.
That inner self talk. I totally understand what you meant, Cherian. As I was just saying that, I could literally see crippled, like you're just there with just
Oh,
rehearsing those, the inner self talk, just rehearsing and rehearsing and rehearsing and rehearsing and rehearsing and rehearsing and rehearsing. Mm.
and you know what, Michelle? That
Yes.
was like the man at that pool. That's all I saw.
Mm.
I mean, 30 something years, and you
Yes.
just inch closer each day. You just
Yes.
look for somebody to come and pull you out.
Yes. Yes. We're gonna try to wrap it up because right? We haven't even scratched the surface of
No, we
hypocrisy as
haven't.
yet. But just as I was sharing there, I want to share as I was preparing myself for this interview, I was listening to an audiobook, and this I'm going to share what I wrote down from one of the sections of the audiobook. It says, "Have you ever realized the majority of folks speak negative, speak lack. I don't have a job. I don't have children, the children I want. I don't have this husband or the wife I want. I don't have the friends I want. I don't have the money I want. I don't have the body I want. I never, it's impossible for me to," and on and on. The author says, if they continue in this manner, the law of attraction, which is a real law, will continue. And I put in this word, faithfully provide them with lack. And that is what ties, that is what seals the crippledness that you heard Cherian spoke about just now. Because it may seem like you're making a step forward, but because you continue to regurgitate it, you
Yeah.
attract another negative experience and another, and so it just locked down you in that place. Hmm,
Yes.
hmm, hmm,
Spiritual
hmm.
rehearsal. Mm,
Come on now, come on.
book
So
rehearsal.
the root of self-pity, you started out, I have discovered that the root of self-pity in my life was ingratitude.
Yes.
And that piece of excerpt that I shared from the audiobook just now, the next part that the author went on to is how swiftly these persons who speak so much negative and focus could shift by being grateful, expressing gratitude. So it
Yes.
was interesting when I read you said here, the root of self pity. I have discovered that the root of self pity in my life was a life of ingratitude. How did you come to
Gratitude.
that realization, Cherian?
Every time I intentionally sought the proverbial silver lining,
Mm-hmm.
I realized that my feelings changed, but not just my feelings, my mindset shifted, and I
Mm.
started to look for more things to be grateful for. And I must also plug your journal. Even though it was a recent addition, it
Yes.
further helped me to do that. Her
Wow.
journal, if you have not
Yes.
gotten it as yet, the I Am
Yes.
Loved and Affirmed journal, you need to get
Yes.
it. And it
Yes.
also helped me to seek those little things that I could be grateful for. Okay, for example, I'm going to be very, very vulnerable. My father died.
Mm.
And I could say, oh, my father died, and woe is me, and stay there.
Yes.
But my father died, and I got to spend time with him before he died.
Mm.
I met him twice in my adult life. I got to meet him twice in my adult life. That is something
Wow.
to be grateful for. A lot of
Yes.
persons have never met their father.
Like my father.
And I'm
Yes.
not doing a comparison game because I don't like that either. But I had to
Yeah.
think, you met your father, you hugged your father, you spent moments that you had moments that you shared with your father. Be
Yes.
grateful for that.
Yes.
Yes, you thought that he was taken too early because I was in that space, but
Yes.
you met your father, you loved on your father, you
Yes.
received love from your father.
Yes. Mm. 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 And as you made that shift, what did you recognize inside?
I started to have more peace, and I
Yes.
started to be more joyful
Yes.
and less anxious, a lot less
Mhm.
tense. I am
Yes.
now looking at the beautiful part of life, my
Yes.
life.
Mm. And did you sense a smile within? And the smile within just automatically shows up on your
Came
face
out.
as you begin to
Yes.
ah wow. Charian, that is a game changer. I tell you, just the power
It
of
is.
gratitude. I am studying on it and I'm writing my second manuscript on it, but it's also powerful. Even as you shared there about your dad, um,
Yes.
I could say, Cherian, rejoice indeed, be grateful indeed, because I lost mine at 3 years old.
Wow.
You know, you got that opportunity to, as an
Yes.
adult, you know, just for, if it's just a fleeting moment, you hold on to that memory forever. Ah, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. What can persons, as we attempt to bring the curtain down, we are asking author, and we're hoping that she'll be able to pop back in if she does go out due to technical difficulty. What can persons expect from writing this book? I'm going to share with you. So, I did just a brief review, and I'm going to share with you what can persons expect from this book. I love the upfront, confrontational manner in which Cherry and Benjamin, the author of Shepocrisy, wrote this book. It is almost as if you're saying, author Cherry Ann, it's almost as if she's saying, enough of the hiding and beating around the bush. Let's take off this mask and address some matters for real. And no, there's not going to be any falling out in the spirit around here. And no, because we've been there and we've done that. But still, we get back up with the mess still inside. And there's not going to be any going around and greeting the brother and the sister in love. No, because we put on the mask and we do that, but we go through the door with the gossip and the backbiting and the, you know, all that mess still inside. And there's not going to be let's all pray in tongues around here. Nope. Because we've been there, we've done that, but we still walk away with the mask, not delivered, still in a bind, still needs deliverance. We're gonna be real this time around. And that is what I sensed was the message, the theme, silver lining through this book, Shipocracy, where if you are a young woman, if you're a young man, you can take off the S and put hypocrisy. You are really ready to be free for real. This book, Shipocracy, can definitely be that instrumental tool to help you walk through the path of deliverance, where you deliver your very own self. Because at the end of each chapter, you have some application to do, you have some implementation to do, and it is only stops along the path of deliverance, your path of deliverance, your path of freedom. Freedom from what you have carried for how many years? Freedom for who you have carried for so many years? Freedom from you locking away you for so many years. Just before we sign off, because it seems as though our dear friend Cherian is not being allowed to get back in, I'm going to share with you again the promo for Cherian's book. Take a look, please. Thank you so much for tuning into today's show. We are going to be airing this on a new series that we will be having coming up, Meet the Author of. And this recording here is going to be the first one for that series, Meet the Author of. In this case, it would be Shipocracy. Go ahead, please share this video. Pretty certain that there will be the person with whom you will share it, the young woman or the young man with whom you will share it, will absolutely benefit from today's interview, and even more benefit from their copy of Shipocracy. The link, the Amazon link for you to go ahead and pick up your own copy, will be in the comments section of this video. So look out for it and go ahead, get your own copy. Until we meet and see each other again, I'm going to share my gratitude journal, 2-in-1 affirmation gratitude journal, as Lady Cherian would have touched on it within her interview, how it assisted and helped her along her journey of unraveling. Take a look.